global news update on top accolade news. The headlines: Ottawa pushes bill allowing federal override on major project laws. G7 leaders urge Trump to end tariff threats. UK-US signed limited tariff deal. Spain blames great instability for April's blackout. We'll start with the focus in politics. Ottawa pushes bill allowing federal override on major project laws. In Ottawa, Green Party leader Elizabeth May slammed Prime Minister Mark Carney's push to fast-track Bill C5 through House of Commons this week, calling it a new law in contempt for Parliament. Joined by First Nations leaders and environmental advocates, May won the bill, which allows Cabinet to bypass key environmental and indigenous consultation laws for major projects, risk undermining constitutional rights. Critics say the legislation favors corporate interests and could lead to legal battles, while the government argues it delivers on election promises to speed up national infrastructure approvals. The bill is set to clear the Commons by Friday ahead of the summer recess. Shifting focus to economy, G7 leaders urge Trump to end tariff threats. At the G7 summit in Canada, world leaders press US President Donald Trump to reverse his escalating tariff plans, warning they pose a major risk to global economic stability. In one-on-one meetings, leaders from Europe, Japan, and Canada urged Trump to drop steep new levies set to take effect next month. Again, the dispute could weaken allied economies and ultimately benefit China. As the summit spotlighted tensions over U.S. trade policies, Trump's early departure due to Iran crisis left leaders from countries like India, South Korea, and Brazil without their expected meetings. Still in economy, UK-US signed limited tariff deal. At the G7 summit in Canada, US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer signed a limited trade agreement aimed at easing tariff on British exports. The deal reduces car import duties from 25% to 10% up to 100,000 UK vehicles and removes levies on select aerospace goods while leaving steep tariff on steel and aluminium unresolved. The UK also granted tariff-free access to US ethanol and increased beef quotas, sparking backlash from British industries, fearing job losses and market disruption. While hailed as a step forward by Starmer, critics warn the pact falls short of a full trade agreement and lacks clarity on long-term impacts. Moving on in economy, Spain blames grid instability for April's blackout. Spain's energy minister revealed on Tuesday that the massive blackout that swept across Spain and Portugal on April 28 was caused by failures in controlling grid voltage, not a cyber attack. Speaking at a news conference in Madrid, the minister said the national grid lacked the capacity to regulate voltage effectively and several power plants failed to meet legal requirements for voltage control in the moments leading up to the outage. An in-depth investigation aimed the cause and ruled out any malicious interference. You're watching the global news update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. In international relations, G7 backs Israel. The group of 7 nations expressed strong support for Israel on Monday, blaming Iran for fueling instability in the Middle East as the air war between the two rivals escalates. In a joint statement, G7 leaders affirmed Israel's right to self-defense and declared Iran the principal source of regional instability and terror, while warning Tehran must never acquire nuclear weapons. The recent flare-up began on Friday with Israeli airstrikes on Iran, prompting deadly retaliatory attacks. Iranian officials report over 220 deaths, mostly civilians, while Israel says 24 of its civilians were killed. As concerns of broader regional war grew, the G7 urged de-escalation, including a ceasefire in Gaza, and pledged to safeguard global energy markets. Moving to conflicts. Deadly Russian missile strike hits Kyiv. In Ukraine's deadliest attack on Kyiv this year, a massive overnight Russian missile and drone assault killed 15 people and injured at least 156, flattening a 9-story building apartment and damaging dozens of homes. Kyiv officials says the capital endured nearly 9 hours of bombardment, part of a wider wave of over 440 drones and 32 missiles launched across Ukraine. President Zelensky said it is one of the world's most terrifying strikes as Moscow intensifies attack amid stalled peace talk and ongoing Western uncertainty. Ukraine's interior minister confirmed a U.S. citizen was among the dead. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones struck back inside Russia and tensions remain high as Kyiv urges international allies not to look away. In entertainment, doctor to plead guilty to Matthew Perry ketamine death case. A California doctor accused of supplying French star Matthew Perry with ketamine in the weeks leading up to the actor's overdose death has agreed to plead guilty. Dr. Salvador will admit to 4 counts of distributing the powerful anesthetic, charges that carry a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. Court documents reveal he injected Perry with ketamine both at his home and in public, taught the actor's assistants how to administer the drug, and sold additional vials for private use. Perry was found dead in his hot tub in October 2023, with ketamine toxicity listed as the cause of the death. The doctor is one of 5 charged in what the authorities describe as an underground network supplying Perry with drugs beyond his legal prescriptions. Now in sports, UK tennis star Katie Boulter reveals death threat. British tennis star Katie Boulter has spoken out about receiving death threats directly at her and her family, highlighting a growing wave of online abuse linked to gambling. The world number 39 shared disturbing messages, including one that read, "Hope you get cancer," following her matches.
You've sent us some of the screenshots of abuse you got at Roland Garros recently. This one is pretty bleak. It says, "I hope you get cancer."
Yeah.
What does that message make you feel?
I mean, I think I just wonder who the person is that has sent that, you know. I just wonder if they're in that deep, that tough of a place. I don't think it's something that I would ever say to my worst enemy, let alone to anyone at all, or even think it. It's just an awful, awful thing to say to anyone. It's, yeah, it's horrible. It really is.
And if I may show you this one, this talks about your family and coffins, but it also mentions your grandma. Bringing your family into it, talking about even the subject of death. I just wonder what that makes you feel.
I think it just kind of shows how vulnerable we are. You know, I mean, you really don't know if this person is on site, you really don't know if they're nearby or if they know where you live or anything like that. And I think for me personally, it makes me feel, yeah, very vulnerable. And it's so sad to see someone actually type that out. And
a new WTA and ITF study revealed that gamblers are responsible for 40% of detected abuse, with 458 players targeted last year. The organizations are calling for greater accountability for the gambling industry and social media platforms as players like Boulter fear for their safety both online and in real life. That concludes our global news update for today. Stay tuned for more global news and developments. Thanks for joining us. I am Ojorumi Okocha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.